you like to explore one other aspect of feeling very sexy? And this might be a certain thing that will surprise you.
A secret weapon, let's call it.
You can find it everywhere in
easily
Canada.
Abundant, affordable. Yeah, I'll let you introduce.
It's kind of bonkers. And it might be the most important substance that anyone can have right now and get it into you. Well, so our magic substance we're going to play with today, I want to ask you about the sex appeal of beets. The common vegetable has some magical powers to really increase libido. And once before you told me how beets were worth more than silver in weight in medieval ages because of their aphrodisiac value.
Yeah, exactly. Their overall medicinal value. So beets, as an herb, has been highly revered since the time of the Romans. They actually, back in Roman times, would cultivate the beets. There was wild beets, but they were domesticated more so they could be cultivated. But they would eat just the greens of the beets and reserve the root for medicine. That's how medicinally powerful the beets are. So today, we take it for granted because they're so abundant. They're one of these herbs or foods, just like celery, that is so medicinally powerful. It's worked its way into our everyday cuisine, right? And so we've kind of lost our knowledge on how powerful these substances are. These real whole foods that, you can get at any grocery store in the city, organically grown. Like, we're so lucky living in the best of times for that abundance that way.
This I brought a little something to share with you, and this is a beet kvass I made at home. Look at this dark, rich color. I mean, I don't know if anyone can see. It's a jewel.
We got our Mighty Man mugs here.
And so tell me how do beets protect, especially? Yes, I mean it's good for both men and women now. For sure. There's something so important why we need to eat beets, and it's protective, right?
Protective, yeah. So men and women, we can look at it. We'll start with the feminine side of it first. So Roman times, they've been highly revering beets. I might have a little sip here. I love the beet kvass.
Oh yeah.
This is amazing, amazing. So they used to use it in love potions, things like that.
Oh, it's so red.
Now, thanks to more modern nutrition knowledge, more modern chemistry knowledge, we can actually kind of dial up and start to investigate what are these compounds that are beneficial in terms of its aphrodisiac and medicinal qualities. One of these compounds, when we look at it from the feminine aspect, is called betaine.
Betaine, is that the pigment?
Betaine is part of the pigment and part of the protein structure we'll find in beets. So when we look at betaine, so betaine's chemical name is something called trimethylglycine. So it's a glycine protein, amino acid I should say, bonded with 3 methyl groups, trimethyl, right?
Whoa.
So it's this powerful substance, but it's so abundant in beets, they basically named it betaine. So you can think of betaine beets. And so what that does, when we look at our, health and wellness in 2018, a lot of people are having problems with hormone balance, right? Hormone adjustment, usually a lot to do with our xenoestrogens, right?
Yes, it's a scary time to be alive when plastic has been discovered to be an estrogen in the human body. When the human body absorbs estrogen into our bloodstream, our body thinks our body thinks that the plastic is this xenoestrogen.
Is estrogen, yeah.
It causes an estrogenic effect in men. They discovered that in a plastic factory, right? That the men working in a plastic factory developed breasts.
Yeah, feminine qualities.
So they developed full breasts and their balls shrunk. Tiny balls atrophy. And we gotta wonder how much plastic we're exposed to, and we gotta wonder about our crisis right now. We have a crisis where people are being severely affected by xenoestrogens. So the beets can help us in a huge way here, right? Hey?
Exactly. So estrogen is, like Denny's saying, is even further than that, where it's become ubiquitous. It's almost everywhere in our environment. Any sort of plastic is an estrogen. It goes further than that. So any synthetic fragrance will be an estrogen. Pesticides, fungicides.
GMO will shrink your balls.
Yeah. These pesticides are estrogens. So it's another thing, there's always the debate, organic's more expensive than that. But like, hey, there's unforeseen consequences of consuming these pesticides that we're just starting to learn now, for example. So when we take these xenoestrogens into the body, what does it do? It starts to bung the body up, right? It starts to collect and stick in the body.
Our body doesn't know what to do with these estrogens.
Doesn't know what to do with them.
So
these estrogens by nature are lacking a methyl group. Now the liver is able to detoxify things when things have a methyl group attached. It's called methylation.
Methylation.
Yeah, very important methylation. Methylation also is what keeps your bad genes turned off and your good genes turned on. So we want an abundance of methyl groups in the body, right? And so when we look at hormone problems, when we're judging and dealing with hormone problems in the human body, we often forget to look at the liver, right? Which would be on this side. Your liver here. Your liver is like your master controller of the body, and it's what balances these hormones out. Well, our poor liver is bunged up with all these xenoestrogens in these fatty deposits that we can't get rid of. So we need substances that will help methylate, will help dissolve and get them out of the liver so the liver can start to do its job better. So when we look at beets that's like a feminine and masculine point, right? Because men, we're loaded with these xenoestrogens as well.
Yeah, and that can severely affect our
overall balance.
Testosterone levels, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we have...
it's gonad atrophy.
Exactly, gonad atrophy, and even balance, and even a lot of these xenoestrogens, when there's an abundance in the body, they'll continue to aromatize into things called estradiol, which are like the supercharged estrogens, which are the ones we don't want. Because estrogen itself is actually utilized in men and women. It's actually what gives our brain energy to turn on. It's the hormone of intellect. It's an amazing molecule, and it is always slagged on. Everyone's like estrogen, but it's these metabolites that estrogen turns into that are the real problems. Esterone and estradiol.
And these are different forms of estrogen, right? There's the
exactly, the good and the bad.
Phytoestrogens, you could call them.
No, they're metabolites. So they're what your estrogen eventually turns into. They're like training a normal soldier, then turning that soldier into like a Navy SEAL. Right? They're like these heavy duty guys, but they're not what we want. We don't want a lot of estradiol. Obviously, there's a time and a place for all these substances in the body, but when we're being inundated by like all these substances, it gets a little bit too far, right? So this can go for men and women. Now, if you look at beets from a masculine standpoint, we're talking about libido and vigor. As we were saying before, the Romans have known the power of the aphrodisiac qualities of beet for thousands of years, highly revered, used in love potions. There's kind of a twofold approach with beet. One of the main ways it works as a libido tonic or an aphrodisiac is through its nitric oxide production.
Nitric oxide production in beets?
Yeah. So what you want is a lot of nitric oxide in the body at certain times because that's a vasodilator.
So it really enhances circulation.
Circulation, yeah.
Nitric oxide of beets enhances circulation to the peripheral member dramatically.
Yeah, exactly. So when we look at beet as a root, it's going to force that energy down or that circulation down. So it's known to increase the circulation of the genital area, right? And it's actually on a side note, an interesting process. When we eat the beets, there's nitrates that are in the mouth. There's actually bacteria on the tongue and saliva that then further change this into nitric oxide.
Very neat.
And then what do you get? You get a vasodilation. You get blood flow.
Explosive chi.
Exactly.
The nitrous will...
Exactly, because chi and blood are the same thing in Chinese medicine, right? The chi resides in the blood. So we're getting this boost of chi. Now, something that's lesser known and fascinating I find about beets, which is why if you're ever drinking kvass or your pickled beets, which I love, Denis makes the best ever shredded pickled beet. They're phenomenal. But I do highly recommend people smell, because smell the kvass. Beets, this is a lesser known side note, beets contain one of the strongest aroma compounds in nature. So this compound, it's called an isobutyl methoxypyrazine, which is a long chemical name for one of the strongest aroma stimulating compounds out there.
Is that something found in sauerkraut as well? The
It might be methoxypyrazine. It could be, but I know it's specific to beets in general, and they actually will extract it and use that chemical in perfumes and an enticing love potions.
Whoa.
And it's all to do with this sensory perception that you're not really aware of, because when you smell beet, it smells earthy, right? You know, it smells grounding. But the subtle aromas, subtle chemistry is getting up there and causing a stimulation for the body.
That's interesting.
So it's like flipping the switch on, right? Going right to the brain, right? The olfactory cells. Breathing in, switching you on. So,
and then that can bring you into the moment, so you can enjoy the sensory pleasures that life has to bring you.
Exactly.
Like really actually focusing on your date's beautiful face.
Exactly.
You know?
And you know, in today's dating world too, and another thing I actually would like to share if we have time about beet, is the mineral content of beet. So they have a vast array of minerals. Specifically when we're talking about an aphrodisiac quality and libido quality, we're talking about a mineral called boron.
Whoa.
So boron is a lesser consumed mineral, and especially if you have a high diet in meat substances, you're usually can be deficient in boron. They kind of counteract with the phosphorus calcium balance. But beets have a high level of boron. Boron is intimately and directly connected to your production of sex hormones in the body.
Oh.
So this is not only helping you with nitric oxide, with getting out the bad estrogens, helping your hormonal balance, but building up your proper hormones. So some studies show that consuming boron will increase your testosterone by up to 50%. 50. Who knew beets were this powerful?
That's sexy.
Pretty amazing stuff, hey?
I was reading about chaga being like loaded with boron. But
there you go.
Shagalicious.
Yeah.
That might be like really all the time we have today, but Derek, you're gonna be a guest again.
Great.
We've already made plans. We're gonna go forage pine pollen together.
Yeah, that should be epic.
And we're gonna explore the whole
the Great White North of the pine pollen forest.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah, thanks,
We're gonna
guys.
see you again soon.
Thanks, Internet.
Yeah, cheers.